Hello learners. So I welcome you all for this session, that is Unit 2 of BBA 103. We have already talked about the evolution of entrepreneurship in India. So I request once you start with this video, you should check out that video as well. So we are going to talk about problem and suggestions regarding the entrepreneurship in India. Before we get into the details, what are the problems, what are the suggestions, we need to know what is the meaning of entrepreneurship, right? So we'll be talking about the meaning, understanding, definition of entrepreneurship. We'll be moved towards what are the trends in the entrepreneurship. We will be talking about the suggestions, we will be talking about the women entrepreneurs, their problems, and the rural entrepreneurship. So let's dive into the details and let's get started. Before we start the trends in entrepreneurship, let's first understand the meaning of entrepreneurship. And before even the entrepreneurship, what are the characteristics of an entrepreneur? What are the abilities he has? It is a risk taking ability, it is the self confidence, is it the decision making, it is the knowledge, it is the understanding the technology, is there any kind of economic motivation, any market orientation? What is that driving factor which makes a person an entrepreneur? Or are all these factors cumulatively makes a person an entrepreneur? So basically, when we talk about the entrepreneur, it has similar these characteristics altogether. All these people who are entrepreneurs have that risk taking capabilities, have that self confidence, decision making capabilities, and knowledge. And they have one tendency of taking the initiative. So, an entrepreneur is a person who's able to look at the environment, identify opportunities to improve the environmental resources, and implement action to maximize those opportunities. I find one opportunity in my hand and I use it. For example, COVID hit. So, when COVID hit, nothing was working, but everything was working due to the laptop. Everything was working due to the applications. And then Microsoft Teams has understood that this is the chance, this is the opportunity I have. And they have what they did. They basically grabbed that opportunity and started that different venture of the Microsoft Teams, which were available but not used, not primarily used. But now everybody is using it. Even if we have the physical availability of meeting people, still people use it because of the convenience it provides. So basically, identifying those opportunities which are there in the market and tapping into those opportunities. Now, coming to the meaning of entrepreneurship, is it starting a new business? Is it starting something I have no idea about? Or is it just having a new venture? Well, it is more. The most appropriate definition of the entrepreneur is that it is a force that mobilizes other resources to meet unmet market demand. It is the ability to create and build something from practically nothing. It is the process of creating value by pulling together a unique package of resources to exploit an opportunity. So, I hope you understood the meaning of entrepreneur and the entrepreneurship. Now, let's talk about the trends in entrepreneurship. What we are understanding from the 10 trends, that is, what are the upcoming avenues which are there in the entrepreneurship? What we are going to see when we are, you know, becoming an entrepreneur, or we want to identify that these are the new characteristics for the entrepreneur. So let's understand one by one. We are saying that the speed and uncertainty would prevail. It is going to happen and it is already happening that the speed is much more higher as compared to the previous era of the technological development. Now we are talking about the artificial intelligence, we are talking about machine learning. Data is understanding its own values with the help of AI, obviously, and we are looking at the more rapid changes in the technological environment, which leading to the better, faster, and more speed resources as compared to what we have in earlier times. We are looking at the quality, we are looking at the diversity, we are looking at the customization. So this has become one of the feature for this particular era of the entrepreneurship. Now, the next point is technology will continue to disrupt. What is the meaning of technology and how it is going to disrupt? Technology is going to evolve itself again and again. It is going to rechange, revamp, reinvent, re-innovate itself again and again. And that will lead to the, again, I said, better resources, quality resources, more technological staff would be required if you want to use that technology. So the skills would improve. Technology, with the help of technology, more learned staff would be there. Next point is demographic data will dictate much of what happens in the business. So we are looking at this that data is the new oil. So if you have data, you have pretty much knowledge what to sell, with whom to sell, how to sell, and in how much quantity to sell. So all these questions are answered with the help of the demo, with the help of that data. So you manage the CRM, that is customer relationship management. With the help of that customer relationship management, you gather the data, then you analyze the data with the help of various tools. Once you analyze the data, you are able to understand that in this particular area, demand for the certain products are rising. Let's suppose take the example of Swiggy. So what Swiggy does? Swiggy analyze that in this particular area of Jaipur, the the people of certain pin code are ordering dish which is churma again and again. So what they do, they inform these vendors also that keep the stack or the stock of churma ready because the consumption is more. So with the help of the data, the orders which are being placed by the Swiggy, they are providing information which is helping the vendors, which is the business owners or the restaurants, and also the Swiggy because product is available at the service of the customer. Now talking about the loyalty. Why and how we are talking about the loyalty in the technological era where everybody has an option. Everybody has an option to select. If I'm happy with Amazon, it is fine. If I'm not happy with Amazon, I'll go to Flipkart. If I'm not happy with Swiggy, I'll go to the Zomato. If I'm not happy with the particular product, I'll go to the another product. So because people are fighting, because these companies have competition, this is being this is in the advantage of the customer, and customer has more and varied option, and definitely he is not sticking to one. So any company which is providing the better options, better product offers, that particular person is moving from one organization to another organization for looking the benefit because it has the information, because that is there available on his phone and on the web. So loyalty tends to decrease in the recent scenarios. The next point is work will be done anywhere, anytime. It is actually happening. We are looking at the scenario where work from home is the demand. People are actually looking for the jobs which are remote. People are not willing to go offices because that reduces the travel time, hassle, and the inconvenience. So with the help of technology, we are actually moving towards the work from home, work from anywhere situation. So as an entrepreneur, I can start my business even on my roof. I do not require a whole bunch of things or a proper office. So that is the trend of the entrepreneurship right now. Just let's remember that Amazon started in a garage. Employment, as we know, will disappear. If we are looking at the employment, employees are also demanding reasoners. They know their worth. They know that if I'm capable, I have certain technological upgradation, knowledge, skills, etc. I might be in the position to negotiate with my employer. So they are asking for the better perks, they're asking for the benefits, they're asking for the flexibility, they're asking for the reward systems, which was not earlier the scenario, but right now it is the mainstream. They're not looking for the salary. Salary is given by everyone. What other benefits? What is the culture of the organization? Now the employees are also very smart. So that is happening in the recent scenario. So these are the trends of entrepreneurship. I hope you understand. So let's continue and talk about the opportunities for the entrepreneurs. We will be discussing about that what are the benefits or what are the key opportunities which are there in the environment. Let's take one by one. So first is free entry into the world trade. So after the WTO inception in the 1994, we have realized that trade barriers have reduced significantly, which leads to the more opening up of the various economies. So you can sell the goods not just to India but to the various part of the world. For example, there are many exporters which are not sending or selling their goods in India, rather they are exporting it to various other countries such as UAE, USA or UK. That leads to the improved risk taking ability. So since you have more options available, more markets available, not just domestic, not just particular national geographical boundaries, but across the world, now you have an option to take the risk, because you know that even if in one part of the world my goods would not be selling, I can actually sell it to the another part of the world. Or you have different options to mitigate that risk as well, such as in insurance, commercial insurance, right? So that also reduces the capability, that also reduces for the risk and uncertainty and improves the chances for risk taking capabilities. Coming to the third point, that government of nations withdrawn some restrictions. As I've already discussed earlier about the World Trade Organization, India being the member of the World Trade Organization, UN and um, IMF, World Bank, these organizations has been focusing upon the reduction of the barriers, and India also need to abide by these rules. So government of India and various other countries, what they are doing, they are reducing the barriers so that the free trade can happen. Once it is happening, definitely it is helping these entrepreneurs who are selling the goods and services across the world. Technology and inventions spread into the world. Obviously, with the help of technology, you see the development in healthcare system, in the aeroplane, in the aerodynamics. If you talk about the transportation, if you talk about education, if you talk about the health and fitness, anything you touch, there is a touch of anything which you see, anything which you look eye upon, it has a touch of technology. So technological invention is not just limited to the developed nation, it is moving across to the even to the third world countries. Coming to the India, India has the vast variety of technological adaptation and technological transfer rate is very much higher. So we are evolving as a technological hub as well. We are the 25% share of IT is being exported to the world. So definitely there is a huge scope in this particular arena, and technology is one of the key area where we are seeking the highest rate of entrepreneurship and the employment. Now next point is encouragement to the innovation and invention. Here we are talking about anything which can be redeveloped, anything which can be modified, anything which can be used in a better manner, or it is a drastic change in the things what we usually do. It can vary from any range. So innovations are being motivated by the employees. Companies are motivating the employees so that they use their creative mind to build that innovative product. Lot of money and lot of funds are being spent on the research and development to lead the innovation and inventions. Next point is promotion of healthy competition among nations. So obviously, once we are living in the open economic system, which means that we have a trade with world, we have a healthy competition. We actually estimate GDP of USA, we compare it with China, we also compare it with India. India being on the fifth number, fifth largest economy in the world. It is leading to the competition. We want to be at the fore, we want to be the $5 trillion economy by 2025. So that's the healthy competition, which is helping these entrepreneurs because these governments are actually trying to build those ecosystem for the startup, build those ecosystem for manufacturing so that their GDP, their per capita, their revenues can increase. Coming to the next point, consideration increase in government assistance for the international trade. I have talked about the government role in various organizations. Now coming towards what are the Indian organizations which are the part of trade promotion. There is the ITPO, there is the DGFT, Director General of Foreign Trade. There is a Commerce Ministry or Ministry of Finance. There is the Commodity Board. There is a council, Export Council. There is ITPO. So all these organizations, FIEO, these organizations provide the assistance to the exporter and importer so that they can do the international trade. There are franchising licenses which are provided to start a business in India. There are people who are open. Basically, there are people or the organizations which are helping the people to set up an exporting firm, to start that firm, to find that market where the goods would be sold. So commodity boards are there, councils are there. So this has been increased vastly. And that leads to the more opportunity for an entrepreneur, not just in the domestic arena, but also in the international business. Now talking about the establishment and other national and international institute to support business among the nations of the world. When I have talked about the IMF, that is reducing the problems of balance of payment, again making sure that nations are not collapsing. World Trade Organization promoting the harmony, promoting the prosperity into the various countries. What it is doing, it is providing funds for the development. There are different organizations, World Trade Organization. What they are actually doing, they are actually providing assistance, not at the national level but also at the international level. There is an arbitration council as well, International Arbitration Council, which helps in settling the disputes. So this is what it is being provided to the people so that they can find out the opportunities, they can become more confident while they are doing the international trade or the national trade. They are sure that if we are doing something, if we are sending or selling the goods, definitely we'll be getting our payment back and we can do the business again. So these organizations are very helpful in these businesses. Benefits of specialization. So once you do one thing again and again, you become better at that. So if you stick to one particular task or the job, you're going to be attain that specialization. Over a period of time, you would achieve the economies of scale as well. That would lead to the reduction in the cost for the firm. So that is also the opportunity of for the entrepreneurs. And then we have the social and the cultural development. What is the social and cultural development? Basically, we are more open towards the various kinds of different norms which are followed in the different societies. We are looking at the popularity of the K-pop, that is the Korean pop culture. We see now people from India are influenced by the K-pop stars, that is the Korean pop stars. Why? There is a acceptability. We are also influenced by the Hollywood stars, not only the Bollywood stars. So how these people, these foreigners are living, we are also looking from the same lens. We understand with the help of their picturization, with their videos, with their music songs, etc. We understand, and what we try today, we also try to accept that, and that not just in the literature, but also in terms of using the products. I don't like to eat from the chopsticks, but definitely I would like to try it sometimes. So that happens once you are open for this different idea, basically the idea of different society. So as we have talked about the opportunities, we should also consider what are the challenges which are there for entrepreneurs. So we need to understand from a very understanding point of view that if I am starting a business, if I'm starting an enterprise, what are the problems I'm going to face? What are the issues which are going to arise? And if these issues are going to arise, what are the solutions I'm going to find? If there are certain solutions available, definitely I can just move ahead and reduce these problems and challenges. Right? So let's get started. So when I talk about the problems of raising equity capital, why anyone would give you money? So you do not have any kind of credit score, you have not taken any kind of loan, your idea is very confusing to the venture capitalist. Who is going to give you money? It is the bank, it is the venture capital, it is the angel investor, right? So these problems are very much normal, these problems are very much there. You need to understand that how I'm going to convince those people to take the share and raise the equity. I hope you have seen the Shark Tank. So they have the solution, they have the certain market base, they have the innovative and new idea, and then they try to sell the equity to the players which are there in the market. Right, so that's the same problem which is there with every individual who's trying to set up its business, either on a small scale or on a large scale. So if you're starting small, you need to identify that what are the ways and methods. Now, equity capital is that I am giving the share, I am giving the ownership, I am providing the part of my profit and loss to another person. Now, when I talk about borrowing fund, what is meaning of borrowing fund? Basically, when I'm taking a loan, if I'm taking a loan from in any lender, or if I'm taking a loan from a bank, or if I am taking a loan from a non-banking financial corporation, NBFCs. So that is also again a problem. Either you raise a equity or you get a fund from a loanable amount. That so whatever you do, you are going to have a same kind of problem. You need to convince the other person that why he gives his money to you. You need to ensure that you are going to provide the profit, and the case of the borrowings, you are going to provide him with the proper interest. So that is the challenge, that is the first challenge which is faced by the entrepreneurs. Fine, we have got the capital, we have got the funds. Again, there is a competition which is there in the market. When I talk about the small companies, it's easier to make. Less capital is required. Anybody can start the business. Anybody can replicate your idea. Again, there is a problem. But if you're starting something very big, obviously competition would be lesser, but stakes would be high. So in both the cases, there is a problem which is there of having a competition. How you deal with that competition? You have that great marketing strategy team. You have a wonderful product which is qualitative, which is beautiful, which is very useful, which is has a versatility which can be used in multiple occasions, or it has multiple uses. What you are providing to your customer. So if you have that thing in clear in your mind, you can try and reduce the competition. You can actually go ahead. Look at the Asian Paints. It has the competition, but hardly any in reality. So what they actually did, you need to find out. Now next thing is problem for availing raw material. So since you have the competition, these competitors are also fighting for the raw material. Either you are having own manufacturing units of the raw material, you have own farms for making the product, that is the raw material. If not, definitely you are going to have the problem of raw material. Either you will get it indigenously, that is within the national territory, or you will buy it from anywhere else. Even if you buy it from anywhere else, government may impose certain restriction, right? So these things, these problems would arise, but these are manageable in nature. You will get assistance once you will start doing the business. So these things would be there. Next point is problem of adolescence of indigenous technology. So when I talk about the problem of obsolescence, basically it means that the technology which is being used in the system, especially in the Indian context, what do we understand? That the technology is not up to the mark. We are using the old methods. We are using the outdated technology, that leading to the poor output. Uh, the quality of output is not good. That's the main problem, that the technology is not up to the mark, that technology is not updated. So what's the solution here? Solution is you need to have the upgraded technology, and that's the solution, that you need to do a technology transfer. So once you transfer that technology from a developed nation, you take the right. Once you take that right, it would be very easy. Then we have the problem of pollution. So if you are starting something, you do not have the knowledge of how this particular raw material, any kind of substance is going to increase the pollution, whether it's air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, that is going to increase the chance of your failure, because friendly products are acceptable in the market, are have the edge over the other products. So you need to be very smart what kind of product you're making, how you're making it. So that's one of the challenge which is being faced by the entrepreneurs. That the problem of trips and trims, that is the trade related aspects of intellectual property rights and trade related aspects of investment measures. Basically, these are the two norms by the WTO, which means you cannot simply copy the idea of anyone else. You need to ensure that the idea is your own and you have that copyright. You know, you have that, uh, you have the authorship and authority to use that particular technology, product, substance, material. So, in all those things, if you're not following the rules of the trips and trims, you can get caught up, and definitely you will have to pay the penalty and the royalty to the who's the right owner of that particular technology. So that's the problem again, which is there by the entrepreneurs. You simply can't copy anything. Next is exploitation of small and poor countries. So this thing has been found that the exploitation in the small and poor countries has been rising even after the world trade has increased. The reason is they're dumping their products, they're dumping their services into the poor and the small countries. And these countries are not gaining anything. They are just the consumers. For example, India is a vibrant democracy. It has the 141 billion people, and that's a huge number. And this number basically used by the various companies, what they are doing, they are simply trying to sell us the products because they know this is the market. But are we actually catering that much amount we are using, that much products which we are using, actually exporting? The answer is no. We are importing more, exporting less. So these 141 billion people are not exporting much as compared to the we are consuming from the outside, right? So exploitation is there by the entrepreneurs, by these big companies. So these are the challenges which are being faced by the entrepreneurs. Women entrepreneurs have been making a significant impact in all the segments of the economy in India, Canada, Great Britain, Germany, Australia, and the US. The areas chosen by a woman are retail trade, restaurant, hotels, education, cultural, cleaning, insurance, and manufacturing. So these are the areas which are basically tapped by the women. But if I talk about the data, it is only the 4.5% of Indian working population has a contribution from a women entrepreneur, which is a very less in number. So government has to look for the better options, should have to look for the more problems, understand that why women entrepreneurship is less. So basically there are three E's which are achieving higher number of participation, that is engineering, electronics, and energy. In these three areas women have the highest participation rate as compared to any other domain. These are some of the problem areas, or these are some of the factors which reduce or impede the growth of the women entrepreneurs in India, are as that poor self image of a woman. So if I talk about the women, they are tend to be very homely, they are tend to be very timid, they are tend to be very much scared in terms of what they can do. So they are not challenged enough so that they can prove their worth. And these women who are very much conscious about their self image tends to just get a job which is available, tends to do a work which suits for their family, not for them, so they tend to compromise more as compared to the male counterparts. So this I am not enough type of image leads to this less number of participation of women, especially in India. Next, we talk about the inadequate motivation. So, motivation is a factor which can be derived from inside or it can be induced from outside. Somebody who's well versed, somebody who has knowledge, somebody who has great exposure can have the inside motivation, can be induced from inside. But somebody who does not have that much of exposure might require the adequate motivation from the outside, that means from the family, friends, teachers, society. And these people who question those women actually tend to reduce the chances of the entrepreneurship. You can't do it, you should not do it, you should stay home, you should raise your child properly, that's your duty. So this demotivates a women and leads to the lesser number of participation in the entrepreneurship. Again, the similar point, discriminating treatment. So female should actually be doing all household chores, plus if she is doing something that's a leisure time for her, so she's allowed to do, she does not have any kind of right to do, she's allowed to do. So that's kind of idea behind the discriminating treatment which is being by the family members, by the spouse, by their uh, either by the parents as well sometimes, that leads to the less number of people participating in the entrepreneurship. Then the faulty socialization, that means you should not do this, this is not your arena, you're allowed only to stay at home, you can work for the family, okay fine, you can do little bit of work, but you're not required to actually start the business. You can go for a job, but you should not take that much of risk, because women does not have that much of funds available as well. So the funds are required either by a family or by a business. If nobody is supporting her, definitely she is on her own. Next is role conflict. So if I'm a mother, should I be actually the entrepreneur? If I'm a wife, should I actually go and do my work? So these role conflict, who is more important, whether it's my family, whether it's my uh, my business, my venture. So that's the conflict every women in the society feels, and this problem arises the less number of participation, because I don't know what is more important. My feminine side says that I need to be stay there, I need to stay with my child, but at the same time I have a customer I need to cater to. I have a commitment to the deliveries. I'm not able to do if my child is crying at home. Nobody is going to see that particular child because that is my child. So these are the conflict arises at the time when a lady is going through the dilemma, and if nobody is supporting in the family, similar to what cultural values says that it's the duty of a mother to raise a child, not a father. It's the duty of, and if she's not giving the time, definitely she's a bad mother. So these are the problems which are there ingrained in the minds of the people. If it is there, it is there. If these norms are not broken, definitely these problems are going to arise even for a longer period of time. So that's there. Next is lack of courage and self confidence. If as a family member, if as a society, they are not inducing the confidence and the motivation, definitely she would have a very timid nature. She would not be thinking of starting something off on her own, because she thinks it is fine to just go for the job rather than starting something of her own. So that's the idea. Inadequate encouragement. So encouragement from outside is not given, lack of social acceptance is there. I think somebody who's running a business can run a home as well, but society will not accept it. Society would say she might be compromising on various aspects of her life. It is just not okay. So that social unjust, that culture impedes the women to participate more, be more active, be more enthusiastic, be more risk taking. These are the problems which are, come across only by a woman, not by a primarily by a male. And here there are more concentrated points regarding the issues, that is lack of freedom of expression. She can't express herself, she can't express her views regarding what she wants to do in her life. So that curtails the opportunity, that curtails the participation. She's also very much self-conscious. Her image is in self-doubt, so she is very much afraid to take the failures and accept the criticism. She is very much sensitive regarding this, and also skeptical to the negative attitude of the people. If you fail, that means you're a loser, especially for a woman. Why is she, left everything behind and started something of her own? She should have, stayed at home attitude is actually negative to the society. Then the low dignity of the labor. There is no dignity in doing certain tasks which you're supposed to do at the workplace. That is, you have to deal with certain people, you have to do a physical labor as well. So definitely that is a questionable situation for a women. Since we have seen the current scenario, since we have seen and understood that what are the issues or the problems are faced by the women, especially the women who who is supposed to start the entrepreneurship, but she's not able to do it. So, what should be done? First of all, in my own submission, I think it's the mindset which needs to be changed by the people, by the society. If they want women to be participating more in the entrepreneurship. And secondly, if that's not a nudge, if that is not happening by your own, definitely government needs to intervene. So let's understand the suggestions that how government should motivate. So government should provide separate financial fund for the women entrepreneur. So you also know that government has run various schemes for especially for the women so that they can start their own business. Sakhi is one of them. Government should also provide her the special infrastructure facilities whatever she needs. So special infrastructure related to the development of the ecosystem that is required by the government so that they can start their own business without having doubts in mind. Then the government should arrange a special training programs for women entrepreneurship. The Skill India is the training program. There are many training programs which are even started by the government of India as well, that provides training to the women so that they can start their own business. Especially if I talk about in the textile sector, if I talk about the agrarian sector, if I talk about the technology, they are starting up these training sessions especially for the women so that they can be sashakt, right? Next is government should facilitate top rank women entrepreneurs, somebody who's doing good, somebody who's actually providing that revenue to the government, somebody who's on the top of the charts, she is actually doing something, she should be facilitated, basically acknowledged that yes, these are the women of the face, or the face of the India, who are actually representing as a women entrepreneur so that other women can also be motivated. Women entrepreneurs should more be competitive and efficient in the local and international market. So, how to make more competitive? Basically, providing the right kind of trainings to them and giving them more open access. So, once this would be happen, this kind of idea would be provided. Definitely, the increment in the women participation would be more. Government should invite successful entrepreneurs from the foreign countries as well. So somebody who's doing good outside should actually be reflected in the country as a, you can say, as an example, as a good example that yes, if these women can do, you can also do it. So this will also motivate the women to participate more in the entrepreneurship programs. Now we are going to talk about the rural entrepreneurs. So what are the rural entrepreneurs? So if I talk about the participation, more than 50% of people are participating in the you know agrarian based society. More than 50% of people, which is hardly giving 17 to 18% of GDP contribution. But India being remain in the primary sector economy. So what are the opportunities government has for the rural sector? Basically to increase the opportunities for the rural entrepreneurs. So it has various programs launched by the government, which is crash scheme for the rural development, food for work program, that means if you work you will be getting the food, national rural employment program, rural regional development centers, entrepreneurship development cell institute of India, bank of technology, rural innovation funding, and rural support, social rural entrepreneurship. So these are the initiatives provided by the government so that the rural participation can be increased and not just they are dependent on the landlords for the crop production for the lands, but they can also start their own ventures and own businesses. So that's the idea behind providing the opportunities for the rural entrepreneurs. Now, talking about the challenges for the rural entrepreneurs. So, what are the challenges which are there for the rural entrepreneur, which actually face a lot of issues in terms of assistance, in terms of the availability of the resources? They have limited knowledge. They don't know how to utilize the capability, and there are certain problems related to the technology. So let's understand one by one. First is growth of mall culture. That means demand for their product is getting lesser because availability of beautiful and well equipped where people spend their time and money, and rather than buying product from a local shop, they are going and buying the product from a well established brands. Now coming to the next point, poor assistance. So assistance related to the technology, related to the marketing, related to the finance is not given on time. When it is not given on time to the rural entrepreneurs, they seems to get demotivated, which leads to the poor transmission and poor conversion of rural people into the entrepreneurs. Then the power failure is there. Even if somebody who has started a business is not able to meet the demand of the customer, reason being the availability of the energy is not there on time. That means power cuts, power failures are there. That leads to the reduction in the productivity and the quality. Leads to the um, you know reduction in the profits as well, and that leads to the losses. Next is lack of technical know-how. So lack of technical know-how is because rural people are not very much equipped with the technology. They do not have that much of understanding of using the technology, and when it is not there, they need support. And if that support is not given, that leads to the again failure of the system. Capacity utilization is also the example. They are not able to use the right kind of capacity which is required to make the product. They either underutilize it or overutilize it, and that leads to the poor productivity and the quality ratio. Next is the infrastructure sickness. So infrastructure sickness is basically roads are not fully developed, water is not there, electricity is not there, any aid which is required, any supporting material which is required is not available, and that leads to the proper poor system. The proper system is not there, and it is very much likely that people would feel demotivated and will not use basically they will not go for the rural enterprise. Now we are coming to the summation of this particular topic. So we have discussed the meaning of entrepreneurship, what are the challenges, what are the issues and opportunities, what are the issues with women entrepreneurs and the rural entrepreneurs. We have covered all this. Now let's look at the basically top companies of the or the enterprise of India which have come so far, uh, being the biggest giant in the India. So these are the Tata Steel and Motors, Indian Oil Corporation, Reliance Industry, Infosys, Moserware, Bharti Televenture. So these are the some companies which started as a startup, I would say, started as small, but now the biggest companies in India, which not only providing the goods and services but also providing the various opportunities to the Indian youth. So that's a motivation for starting a business. That's a motivation to start a new enterprise. I hope those who are watching, I hope those who are listening would be understanding that what are the issues and how we can solve it and actually be developing that mindset of the entrepreneurship. So, with that, I would like to thank you and I hope you like the session. So, please, if you have any issue, you can rewatch it and go through the notes which are available to you. Thank you so much.